Hello, everybody, and welcome to Storm Reads. And today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite and not so favorite middle grade books of 2024. Okay, so like I said, today I'm going to be talking about middle grade books. In 2024, I read 87 middle grade books. So I figured it needed its own little category. Though, I would say I probably didn't give any of these books 5 stars. I still thought they deserved to be talked about and a spot on a favorites list. Because when it comes to middle grade, I'm very, very picky of what actually gets 5 stars. Because they're middle grade, they're not really meant for me, but I love them anyway. And a lot of them will get 4 stars, and I will enjoy them a lot. And even some of them that get maybe 3 stars are still a lot of fun. And so out of the 87, these are going to be like kind of like I would say the cream of the crop maybe. I'm not going to mention ones that I mentioned on my best in series video because that's kind of overkill. You already know they're my favorites. So I decided to go with ones that didn't get on that list because maybe they're standalones or they just weren't in a category and stuff like that. So let's get into it. Okay, so these middle grade books are in no particular order or anything like that. They're just ones that I really enjoyed and I wanted to put on a list. And so everybody already knows how much I enjoy the Hardy Boys because I talked about the second book. And well, I had to put some love out for the first book because, I do read in order, so I had read this one to get to that second book. So yeah, we have The Tower Treasures by Franklin W. Dixon and started the one that started my love of wanting to read the Hardy Boys. So it had to be here. Then we have the Bonkers series as a whole by Patrick Carman. But this is the first book, The Terror in Jenny's Armpit. But I read all three of them in the same month. And we all know I don't like binge read, but they were so bonkers, just like the title. So fun, cute. I had to give it, a spot here. The next one I have is my very first Gordon Corman book. So this is Ungifted. And everybody was like, Stormy, you need to read Gordon Corman. You like middle grade books. You need to read this author. And then my buddy Kat from Kat's Novel Adventure sent me 3 books. And so, yeah, I had to get to one of those in 2024 and I hope to get to the other ones in 2025 because I don't necessarily read a lot of more like on the contemporary side of middle grade, but sometimes there's an author that can write a story that I will enjoy, and I really did like this one. Um, I liked it because the main character he's not gifted. That's why it's ungifted, but he ends up in a gifted school, and the things that he teaches the gifted kids and the gifted kids teach him was very good story. And there is a second book. It was a duology, and I need to get to the second book and see how it goes because I know it has one of the gifted kids in a non-gifted school. So it's kind of got twisted around, and so I'm kind of curious to see what happens. And so the next book I have is The Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury, which you would have thought I'd probably already read since I do like spooky middle grade, and this is definitely a classic and everything. But yeah, I've never read it before. Um Sometimes I thought to myself, how is this a middle grade book? Because it seemed very creepy. But it's listed as a middle grade book, and it is about middle graders who meet this mysterious man and find out the true meanings of all the different costumes they have while they're trying to save their friend Pip. And then I put on here books by the same author. I read them both in this 2024, and I just wanted to mention this author as a whole because I really have enjoyed her book so far. We have Mari and the Curse of the Cocodrilo, and then The No-Brainer's Guide to Decomposition, which I'm sure people remembered me talking about how gross it was. But we are talking about middle grade, and in the vein of middle grade, I think middle graders would enjoy these books, and I did have fun with them overall and everything, even though the one grossed me out a little bit. But Mari is one about it's a magical kind of one. It's about some kind of mythology about the El Cocodrilo who doesn't like it whenever you don't participate in the things that you're supposed to do, and made everything very unlucky for the main character and her friend and stuff. So they have to try to figure out how to kind of appease the El Cocodrilo. And in the No-Brainer's Guide to Decomposition, it is a zombie type book and everything, and so it'd be perfect for zombie-a-thon. Um, the gross things about it was that it is set on a body farm, the famous body farm that most people know about, where college students and everything, that's how they learn a lot about the decomposition and decomposing bodies and everything. So yeah, it's got a lot of kind of gross details about that, which I think a lot of middle graders would probably enjoy, and I would have been one of those. I'm pretty sure if I would have read this at the age it's intended for. Nowadays, that kind of stuff makes me a little bit more squeamish than it did back then. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and so those are my kind of top middle grade books, the ones that I really thought were kind of cream of the crop. Like I said, I could have put a whole bunch more here because I was like, oh yeah, I like that, I like that, I like that. But, you got to kind of cut it off at a certain point. And so that's where I am here. So the next book that I'm going to mention is what I would consider my worst middle grade book. But and even at that, I don't want to call it worst. It's more disappointing. It's more that my expectations for the book were different than what it was. And so that book was Not Quite a Ghost by Annie Ursu. Probably butchered that. And I think I went into it thinking it was going to be some kind of horror book. And even though it says Not Quite a Ghost, I mean, you can tell that there's something in the, like, wallpaper. And so I was thinking maybe if it's not quite a ghost, it was more like, um, I don't know, a demon, or even still it was a ghost of some sort. So I think my expectations were different than what this book was intended for. I, again, don't care for the type of book that this ended up being. To me, it was a little bit of a cop out, but then I think it's intended to be that way. And so I think it has an intended audience, which was not me. So I can't necessarily say that this was a bad book. It just was a not me book. So it was disappointing to me because it was one that I was really looking forward to just by the premise of the book, and then I ended up not enjoying it too much. Um I don't even think I could say what it's about and maybe the reasons why without spoiling things. But it is about a young girl, and some things are happening to her, and her parents aren't quite exactly believing her, and the doctors aren't quite. They think she's over dramatic, that she's just being a girl, and things like that, and stuff like and so yeah, I don't know, just wasn't for me. So that's the only book though. I didn't mention the one I DNF'd because I already mentioned that in a different video. So this was really, besides that other one, the only one that I really didn't care that much for. And I think I gave it 2 stars, but I know it's gotten some really good ratings on Goodreads. So don't let me keep you from checking it out because it definitely just was not what I was thinking it was going to be and for me. So there you have it. That's the middle grade books. So yeah, overall, not a whole lot that I put on this list, but I did want to give a little bit of a shout out to some middle grade books that I thought were fun, and the one that wasn't so fun for me, but I think other people might enjoy. So I don't like to call it like the worst book, but it was more on the disappointed list, I guess you could say, and everything. So if you read middle grade book, let me know what were some of your favorite middle grade books that you read in 2024. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.